Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Alba. I'm here to tell you a story. And here it is, kind of getting into the dark 30. So, do you want a scary story? Do you want to hear about the big splat? What is the big splat? In cartoon fashion, that's when Wile E. Coyote straps on the Acme missile on his back, lights the fuse, and he zooms off to get the Roadrunner. And he's catching up, and he's catching up, and he's catching up, and they go on this windy little path along a cliff, going higher and higher and higher. And then all of a sudden, Roadrunner stops, 90-degree turn, and Wiley just goes way up into the air. And Wiley's little ears are flapping around, and he's looking around. What a view! This is great. Yeah, I'll get to Roadrunner another day, but this view is really good. And then the Acme missile kind of, and Wiley goes, ooh. And he's looking down. He says, oh, what a pretty view that is. What? Oh, that's a valley. Oh, look, there's, and he goes zipping down to the floor of the valley and smashes into it. And that's the big splat. And then Wiley kind of opens, one eye and looks up, and this big rock that's teetering. And it falls right on top of it. And that's the big splat. And the human race has pretty much been at it since the beginning. Right? And that's because we basically put ourselves in the karmic loop where we live a life, a nice kind of linear line, beginning, middle, end. We do it again, and again, and again, to try and learn something. We have children, and we try to pass that lesson on to our children. But we don't, because they just go into that linear line of beginning, middle, end, splat. So how do we get over that? What do you think? It's just going and taking another dump? Do we just delude ourselves through pleasure, hedonism? What do we do? Here it is, 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Time flies when you're having fun. So we're right on that precipice of that cliff with a missile strapped on our back and a Zippo lighter ready to light the fuse. Are you ready for that? So how are we going to end? Nuclear war, starvation, total stupidity of our leaders. That looks like a promising interlude. If you think that Carrot Head, or any other politician was democratically elected, you are totally not getting the picture. This is all a soap opera, a scripted show. The war in Ukraine, scripted show, the War of the Two Vlads. That's what it'll be called. There is no logical reason why Vlads of Russia started that war. There was no reason why, after promising Mikhail Gorbachev that we would not, pinch 1 inch of Eastern Europe, but we did. We took all of the Soviet Union that wasn't Russia and put it into the EU and NATO. Right, all those countries right on Russia's border. If that's not an existential motif. And that went on. Billy Clinton brought that one into our motif, right? Jimmy Carter just died. I wonder what they're going to say about Billy Clinton. Most people don't realize that, you know, Jimmy Carter. I mean, he's a peanut farmer from Plains, Georgia, out there in the middle of nowhere. How did he become president? Oh, that he became state legislator, then governor, then no, he was put there. Before he did that, he went to, you know, Annapolis. He became part of Admiral Rickover's nuclear navy. Was a captain of a boomer nuclear submarine that carried intercontinental ballistic missiles that could destroy, the world. You just don't give anybody the keys to that hot rod. So he came back. You should read Jimmy Carter's biographies. I gotta go get my glasses. I need to stand up anyway. So we're talking about the meaning to life. What do you think? Right? Is it the big splat that's coming up? There are a lot of things pointing to a depopulation. A lot of China, most of Europe. The only country that isn't being depopulated because of the inability of the country to basically bring in immigrants / have babies, right? The United States does a pretty good job. We're an immigrant country. And pretty much every time a new group comes in, they're at the bottom of the barrel, get the most crap, right? It's nothing new. Going after the Hispanic is nothing new, right? And we've had, morons, just like virtually every president has been a moron. Jimmy Carter, not so much a moron. He knew exactly what he was doing. Judge Brzezinski was his handler, right? And basically, he started Russia on the great downfall, right? And he basically incorporated. He basically put the time clock on 9/11, right? By bringing, the Mujahideen in and giving them weapons and giving them power. And after the Russians had left, if we had only given Afghanistan a little aid, $6-7 million, and given them assistance to go in a path that they wanted to. If we had done that with Iran, they back in the 50s, they had a democratically elected president who wasn't a communist, but he wanted his people to basically be able to chart their own path, right? And basically, CIA went in there and got rid of him and put the Shah in, who was waiting there patiently, and that guy was such a puppet. And we took him out and we put the other puppet in, the Ayatollah Khomeini, right, who was waiting for 20 years in Paris, right? It was a picture of the Ayatollah being brought from Paris to Tehran on a U.S. Air Force C-130, and he was coming down the stairs, and there was General Secord on one side and Colonel Ali North on the other. I mean, these things are right in our face. So we just had a pandemic, right? Which is like, and how did Carrot Head handle that one? After 1 million Americans died from his incompetency, and his not understanding, that this whole thing was a planned motif. I don't think he's smart enough, really. I mean, he does read the script. When he goes on and on, oh, I'm doing the weave. No, he's reading off the teleprompter. I don't know if he's going to I have a sense that there is going to be another. I mean, the bird flu seems like a good bet, right? It's the birds everywhere, right? That flu gets transmitted through all those birds really easily, and the birds seem to be able to transmit it to cows, which are mammals like we are. They're not too different than us. And the number of people who have been around cows have been infected with the bird flu. And the last guy who got sick from it and was in the hospital, they basically were taking blood from him and seeing that, oh, look, in the time that he's been here, the flu has mutated. And there were many characters who were in American hospitals that the you know, COVID mutated in them 10, 15 different ways. Right? So it's obvious that someone wants the human race to be knocked down by 70%. And if we have a nuclear war or a nuclear exchange, I don't think we'll have a war, meaning all out nuclear winter, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think, especially since our computers are like, we have known that our infrastructure was vulnerable since 1947, when our infrastructure was at its zenith, right? And so we had the best mass transit systems in the world. And the rest of the world copied what we had, and we basically threw what we had away. And we replaced it with concrete highways that automobiles run on. Right? The rest of the world doesn't have as many cars as we do, right? Or depend on the internal combustion engine as a mechanism to transport our goods and services. Now, our country, Carrot Head wants to get Canada and Mexico and Iceland or Greenland, whatever island up there, and as a imperialist motif, right? It makes sense, right? Those countries have lots of resources, lots of water, lots of people, and they would, and see, the other thing is that NAFTA made Mexico and Canada part of the United States to begin with. We are already, people don't understand this. Donald Trump is just telling the public what already exists, right? So it's going to be a very interesting time. And he is filling his cabinet up with billionaires, oligarchs. It reminds me of Moscow, 1991, right? When the bagman taxi driver showed up, right, to help the drunk. And the drunk just he wanted to get rid of the Soviet Union. He let that, Mikhail Gorbachev wanted to keep the Soviet Union. And once the drunk won the presidency, Mikhail got paid off by, where Mikhail Gorbachev retired to? San Francisco. You know where he died? San Francisco. So this is all right in front of us. 2025. I mean, all of this shit has been coming since 1891. That's when the ball was rolling. I mean, and basically before then, back in the day of the Illuminati and when the French picked Albert Pike up and understood what was coming, Pike got away, but, the illusion of the Illuminati being, stopped, not really. Everything is an illusion. It's up to you to define what you are, where you're going. Let me get my glasses and see what you wrote there. In my pocket? No. No. My gloves are gone. Uh, let's see. What are you saying here? Remember to put things in the capital so I can read them. So, what do you think about all these drone sightings over the East Coast? Well, first of all, the drone sightings aren't just over the East Coast, they're all over the country, all over the world. They're everywhere. And they have been. Go read your Bible. Jacob's ladder, he was looking at the sparkly little donut in the sky, angels, They're, and, you know, aliens, what are they? They are dimensional, they are extraterrestrial, they are many, many things, right? And the planet Earth has been um, the bus stop for many, many character actors from all over, not just our, from all over our solar system. There are people in our solar systems, right? Um, we have been the Earth, Homo sapiens sapien, right? Nazis are on the moon. The moon is basically the Death Star, meaning it's not a rock; it's a spaceship. Where do you think George Lucas got the idea? He sat at the feet of Joseph Campbell for a year and took notes, right? And Joseph told him the story. Joseph's a great, great, great griot, right? And I was very blessed to hang out one summer in Washington, D.C. when I worked at Library of Congress. And most of my time I was over at Georgetown listening to Joseph Campbell give lectures, right? So if I've had any blessings or any gifts or any talent to be in the right place at the right time, be somewhat aware of it, and instead of walk by the opportunity, I step into it, right? And because I am not, I don't care uh, basically what people think. I'm not trying to impress. I'm just trying to be um, there with conscious intent so I can in every day and every way take the peace of God's unconditional love and make it stronger, right? To go through the door of Jesus Christ's unconditional forgiveness, right? And to let it rub off on me so I can forgive others, right? And that's what I do all the time. Yeah, I get annoyed. I get, I'm a human being, right? I can be, manipulated by my hormones, right? But if you are consciously intent in the moment, you notice what you're doing. Oh, look at that! I'm being stupid. Okay, let me step back and have a perspective of what's going on. Okay, look at that. But the rest of the character actors in this movie, they are being paid to read a script, and all they are being run by their ego and their fear. So someone offers them some cheddar to be a congressman or a senator or whatever, dog catcher, and they'll do the job that they're paid to do. Right? They don't realize what their real presence is. It's that of a child of God. Letting the lamp burn bright. Right. So it's so those basic things that are out there that people are saying, go. Stephen Greer. I knew Stephen Greer when he was an emergency doctor in Asheville, North Carolina. He was there when I was there. He grew up there, right? And these mountains are full of stuff that go bump in the night, right? That's one reason I kind of moved it. I live right on top of a dimensional ley line. That's like pretty freaking amazing. And so that's why I'm there, right? And that's why as I told my friend today, if you go to the show that I played earlier, he was nice enough, buddy, to bring me, some food. And but I'm here walking around on concrete, sleeping on concrete, and my poor little body is not. It's doing okay, but it's I left the deep green, which even though it was cold and all the deep green is heaven for 360 days a year. Somewhere between or 340 days a year. 20 or 40 days of the year. It's cold, it's damp, it's snowy, it's this, it's that. It's more inconvenient than it normally is. And then after the big hurricane, and then the big rain that came, 6 weeks later, and washed big chunks of our state road out. So instead of being able to get someplace from here to there in 4 minutes, now it takes an hour and a half. But in the spring, summer, and fall, even that wasn't that big of a deal, right? Winter, because these roads really suck. And the other roads I used to go to cut through the woods, I can't do it because they're up and down, up and down, up and down. And they go up and down and up and down about 600 feet. And some of those roads have cliff on one side and mountain on the other, and the road only 20 feet wide. You slip off that 20 feet, whee! So that's why I'm here in the undisclosed place, watching, taking care of folk who have no other place to be. And that's okay, I can do that, right? And I'm well addressed to do that. And I can help everyone who's doing a great job to bring this forth. And when they get into a place of getting stuck, I can go and talk to them and get them unstuck. And that's what I can do. And that's what I do well. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm being, God's griot of a gabby love, right? That's not muskrat love, right? Like Captain Antonia used to sing about muskrat love. No, it's a gabby love, right? So anyway, the UFOs, I'm just going to stick with the old term. Basically, most of them are our aircraft, right? And they're going to be used as a black swan, meaning we are going to be in the movie, Independence Day. It made it so it would get us ready to have that kind of experience. And that way we can lose 70% of our population and we can blame those darn ETs, those cockroaches. So, but if you've ever seen the movie They Live, John Carpenter, you know, that's the entity that kind of rules. The hidden hand there are characters like that, right? Go watch David Icke's. He's got a ton of shows. He's got a ton of books, right? Go watch Dark Journalist. Listen to Catherine Austin Fitz and Joseph P. Farrell. The thing about any of these guys, and what's his name? Oh, the guy's all about Admiralty Law. All these guys are very great funds of information, but you don't have to believe everything they say. What you really need to do is listen with a an open mind that basically is not prejudice, but has a perspective. You don't believe everything you hear. And what you need to do, and that's why reading the Bible is a good book, because it trains you up to be that tuning fork of truth, right? When you hear something, bing, truthful from any outside source. Propaganda, Goebbels said about propaganda, the best propaganda has 60% truth, right? And then 20% lies, and then 20%, distraction, like, you know, we're going to invade Panama and Texas and Mexico and Canada and Greenland and Iceland, Denmark, That's like stupid talk, right? It's a distraction, right? And for the media to like, well, what are you talking about? Are you talking about using, you should, those guys should ignore that. And like when, Carrot has, we're going to turn Canada into 51st state. A smart reporter would ask the question, well, how are you going to do it legally? What do you need to do it legally? And I would show that Carrot Head doesn't even know what he's talking about. So he's like, And Carrot Head's the first president, even when the presidents would be walking towards the helicopter and the noise of the helicopter made it hard to hear, they had more than one mic out there, right? One pointed at the president, one at whatever reporter was asking the question. They don't do that anymore. Carrot Head's the only guy who has the microphone. So you don't even hear the question that the reporter asked, right? Carrot Head refrains it. This is called, being grifted, right? And Carrot Head is a two-bit grifter. He's not even, like Huey Long. He's not even Huey Long, So it's interesting. And, are you going to, fall for everything? You're going to be a woke person, because those guys are the other side of the same, two sides of the coin, two wings of the same corporate bird. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? What the heck is this? Oh, okay. So stop deluding yourself. Stop distracting yourself. Open your heart to love's co-creation. Open your consciousness to be in every day and every way a doula to God's agape love. And be ready to go through the door of Jesus' unconditional forgiveness. Okay, been here 28 minutes and 29 seconds. I love when that happens. So when we hit 30:30, or if I keep talking 33:33, I'm going to say goodbye. Remember, thumbs up, those likes, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? So I'll see you tomorrow, morning-ish. It'll be Saturday, so I'll probably 9-ish maybe. Okay? Okay. I'm going to have some snow here. But I haven't been that bad, so it's all good. Hope you're well. Hope you're safe. Catch you later.